Good morning, Standard 6. Today, I want to ask you a few questions before we begin our lesson. The first question was, have you understood the importance of technology in your lives? When I say technology, it's the missions that are around you that make life easy, like a mobile phone or a mixie grinder or a fridge. So many things that make life easy for you. Today I'm going to ask you another question. We have something called robots. Have you heard of robots? What are robots? What are robots used for? Where do you usually find the robots? And if ever you have seen robots, that's if you're interested in having technology or knowing about technology, you will see there are so many robots in certain places. Like, for example, you will find that robots have taken the place of a human being in wars, maybe in hospitals during this coronavirus time. If you remember, China and Korea and so many other places, they did not want to allow the nurses or the doctors to be infected by the virus, so they made sure that they sent robots to supply medicines or food for the people, for the patients. So you must have heard about these robots. Today we are going to study about a lesson, that is lesson number 9, life with robots. Let me start by reading to you. Imagine that you are stranded on a lonely, dark road. Suddenly, you see a car coming towards you. You are filled with relief and move forward to ask for a lift. As it comes close to you, you notice something very strange. There is no driver. So, the author is saying, just imagine you're coming home late in the night, you're alone, and suddenly one car comes and it is coming in the direction that you are walking. So what you do, you think to yourself, let me ask for a lift. That means let me take a ride in this car, or ask that person who is driving the car if he could take me home. And as the car comes closer, you will notice that that car doesn't have a driver. So what comes to your mind? Maybe it is a ghost, or maybe it is something else. Just imagine a car without any driver, that too in the middle of the night. There are lots of different thoughts that will come to your mind. Would you assume that it is being driven by a ghost? It may have been natural to think so a few years back, but things have changed now, as driverless cars have become a distinct possibility. They are, however, still being tested and improved upon to make them safer on roads. In other words, they are being made more intelligent. So they are saying, if you had seen that car coming driven without a driver, if it was in the earlier days, you would have thought it was a ghost. But now they are saying things have changed so much. People have tried making a car without a driver, and it has become a possibility. There are cars, there is a BMW car that has been let out into the market, where you will find that the car becomes into a robot, and with a little intervention of human beings in between, the car drives or takes you in busy roads and busy streets. It can take you safely to whatever place you want to go. And what they say is, Google has added some intelligent artificial intelligence into these missions in such a way that they can take you wherever you wish to go, and that too safely. What does the word intelligent mean? When a mission like a computer or a robot solves a problem or uses language or does something human like, we say that it is intelligent. This kind of intelligence is known as artificial intelligence. Since it is man made, it enables missions to do difficult and complicated tasks and is being used in various fields. Now, when they tell us that the car is inbuilt or has something called as intelligent, it means that they add that the computer or the mission that is fitted into that into the vehicle uses a language that can sort out problems for you. It can solve out problems for you. That's called as artificial intelligence. Have you seen Alexa? Alexa, you just ask it a question and it's able to answer you those questions. That's the smallest or the first version of artificial intelligence. The same way, you have these missions which have inbuilt intelligence that we feed into this mission. It is human beings who feed this intelligence into the mission, and then they work according to the different tasks or different jobs that are given to them. It may be difficult tasks, but then they know how to act accordingly. Robots in school. In Masan in South Korea, you may just walk into a classroom and find yourself greeting a robot teacher. Inkeys are robots that are being used to teach English. The face of the human teacher who controls the ink keys remotely appears on the screen of the robot and helps the students connect with the teacher. Such robots can be very useful for teaching a wide range of subjects to children living in far off places. These robots, however, have not in any way replaced human teachers in the South Korean classrooms. Instead, they serve as assistant to teachers. So they're saying there's a place called Masan in South Korea. If you go into the classroom, you'll find that there will be a robot teacher. A teacher, not a physical teacher, but a teacher in the form of a robot. A robot in the form of a teacher. Inkeys are robots that teach English. So that these robots are called as Inkeys. They teach English to these people of Korea. You'll find these Koreans, these Japanese, and the Chinese, they know only their language. But they are so eager to move out to other countries that they wish to learn English. And they have less people or less teachers to teach them English. So they have set up a robot where they would get an English teacher from somewhere else, from wherever, maybe they are from any other European country. They would be indirectly coming onto the screen of the children in Korea and be teaching them English. So here you will find that this robot that is there, they get connected with the teacher. They can have the teacher's face on the screen of that robot, and the teacher keeps talking to them and telling them how to learn English or getting them to learn English. And you'll find that many children can get connected to this robot. Maybe they are at home or they are in some lonely place, but still you'll find that these people can get connected to the teacher or to this robot through this robot. And then they tell us that the robot will not take the place of the teacher. Instead of that, the robot is helping us to get connected to that teacher. So you will not find that robot is making the teacher lose her job or something like that. It helps the teacher participate or educate a number of people through the robot. Medbots. Medical robots are fast becoming an important part of healthcare. So you'll find in the medical field, that is in hospitals, in nursing homes, you'll find there are medical robots. In Japan, there are nursing robots like Robe and Paro. The Robe looks like a giant, gentle bear that is strong enough to lift and move patients in and out of the bed, help them to stand or sit in the wheelchair. So they're saying in the medical field, you'll find a lot of robots coming. And in Japan at least, they have started one robot called as Robe. This Robe looks like a giant, and it is like a giant, gentle bear. So when you think of a bear, you'll think about something very rough, but here you'll find this robot. Robe is the name of a bear which is very kind, and what it does to the patients, it helps the patients to get out of the bed, the old patients or the incapable ones. It helps them to lift the patient out of the bed, to make them sit down, to carry them and put them from the wheelchair to the bed, or from the chair or from the bed to the wheelchair. All this is delicately done by the Robe robot, that is the medical robot. The Para robot, on the other hand, is cuddly and soft with artificial fur. Patients can cuddle or hug it to relax and calm down, since hospitals do not allow soft toys and pets to avoid infection. So they're saying there's another robot that is being introduced in Japan, and it's called the Paro. That is just like a teddy bear. Now in hospitals, they do not allow people to bring soft toys or teddy bears into the hospital because it may cause infection. But here what happens is, this robe bear, they allow the patient to take this paro. This paro is taken and given to the patient, and the patient can hug it, and it reacts, and the patient feels so happy to talk to it. And there has been a lot of change in the patients. Patients who have never spoken, who have been very drowsy or very lethargic, you'll find that these people, when they get connected to paro, they turn to be changing, they turn to be improving in their medical disabilities. They start improving themselves, their status starts improving, they become better. Artificial intelligence may soon make the lives of physically challenged people with artificial limbs easier, as it will make it possible for an amputated or robotic limb to be controlled by the brain. Now they're saying this artificial intelligence that you have, they're saying it is really very good, especially for physically challenged people. Now we have physically challenged people is people who have weak arms, weak hands, or weak legs and cannot walk. Yes, for those people you can put artificial limbs. Artificially you can make artificial hands and legs for them. And you find people who have amputated is people who have their legs being cut, or you'll find that some of them have lost their legs in an accident and they cannot walk around, they'll be on the wheelchair. For those people, they are saying you can put a robotic leg or a robotic hand, and that amputated or cut hand or leg can be controlled by the brain. This will make the limb act like any other body part and will not have to be physically or visually controlled by the amputee. So they are saying whenever you add an artificial arm or a limb to the patient, the brain controls this artificial hand. Now whenever the mind thinks of something, the same way you will find that this artificial arm, starts shaking accordingly. And you will not find that here the man who has lost it doesn't have to lift up his arm and try to catch something. He just has to think about it, and automatically the arm lifts, or the hand, that artificial hand lifts and does whatever the man thinks in his brain. So one thing they have done successfully is, in fact, a robotic artificial limb has been created that allows an amputee to play the drums. So they said they made one artificial arm or a hand for a drummer, and then they found that you'll find that one hand he has got his own natural hand, on the other hand is an artificial hand. One stick is controlled physically by the musician's real arm. So I said among that you'll find that one of the the drum's stick is being controlled by the man with his natural arm, his own hand, and the other one is controlled just listening to the music of the song. You'll find the other artificial hand keeps on playing the drum. Isn't that lovely? That man who's playing the drum must be so excited to know that he can play drums with both his hands. But then you'll find that the artificial hand plays its own role and the natural arm plays another role. So both of them are really helpful to the person who has lost his hand or leg. Robots that look and work like animals are being used in warfare. Now they have started something new. They are saying they have made robots that look just like a dog or just like a cat, and these animals are used during times of war. In the United States of America, robotic horses and dogs are being developed for military use. So I said in America, they have started making robotic dogs, just because they want to use them in the army or in the military or during the war. In 2016, the Marine Corps tested Spot, a robotic dog that was built to detect dangers like enemy fighters, bombs, and so on. In US, they started one robotic dog, and the name of the dog was Spot. And this dog, what it had to do was, it had to go and just move around just to see if there was any danger for the soldiers, if there were any enemies around. if there were any bombs kept anywhere. So this robotic dog named Spot, used to do that job. And that's one way in which we can save and protect the lives of the soldiers in the army. Robots and machines are also being used to do many dangerous and unsafe tasks like diffusing bombs, welding, and so on. Now, these robots are also used for many other things like uh, when they find a bomb in a station or in the bus stand. If a man has to go and try to defuse the bomb or make sure that the bomb doesn't go off, the first thing he has to do is he has to defuse the bomb. Now, sometimes there are chances of the man who is trying to defuse or the bomb squad trying to defuse the bomb, and the bomb blasts, and then we lose one important officer who diffuses the bomb. So we do not want to lose this bomb squad. I mean, at that time we can use these robots to go and defuse the bomb. When you say defuse the bomb, it is to remove the fuse of the bomb so that it will not explode, it will not blast. You can use, so that for that case also they are using these robots. For welding, have you seen welding taking place? When you have this welding, you will find some of these welders, when they are joining two iron things together, they weld the thing, and you have sparks of light coming which affects the person. So at that time it is dangerous for people. During those times you will find that the robot is used for welding. The machines that are used to defuse bombs are part robots and part drones, and are remotely controlled by human beings. They have helped to save thousands of lives, as human beings do not have to go close to the bombs. So they're saying now they have these missions that are made, and you'll find that these missions that help to remove the fuse of a bomb so that it doesn't blast, those missions are half robot and half man made, are half drones. So they said the man is able to control, it's like a drone, it's like a helicopter, small drone which man controls with his remote control thing. Then it when the drone goes close to the bomb, there with the help of that robot, the fuse of the bomb is removed. And they're saying by this we not only save the life of the bomb squad or the of the officer who has to go there close, but then we even save thousands of other lives that are around. And they're saying these robots have helped to save lots of lives. They have helped to save thousands of lives, and human beings don't have to go close to the bombs. Robots are also being considered for welding tasks so that humans are not exposed to the poisonous matter, intense heat, and piercing noise that are produced during welding. Have you seen welding that takes place? When welding takes place, you find a kind of smoke coming out. They say that smoke is poisonous. You find a kind of heat that the person has to face, which is very hot, and then you will find a lot of noise when welding takes place. But then they said a new robot has been made that can help us weld, and human beings can be saved from the heat, from the noise, and from the poisonous gas. So we must be thankful to a robot. Smart homes. From smart homes to smart TVs, artificial intelligence has become an important part of our lives in form of the smart home device. Many of these devices, after being used for some time, can actually gauge your preferences and adjust the settings on thermostats, lights, televisions, air conditioners, and so on. Now you have smart homes. The smart homes, you'll have TVs, you'll have the ACs. There are so many nice things that happen. You can just set the AC in such a way that when you are returning back in another 30 minutes, as within 30 minutes the AC gets on and makes sure that when you are entering your home, the whole house is cool. The AC is in such a way, it has got so much of artificial intelligence in it, that if you are not in the room, it switches off. If you come into the room and in which area you are sitting, it makes sure that that area, the air goes to that area and makes you feel cold. Isn't this lovely? It's really so nice. There are smart lights now when you are not in the house. Suppose you are gone out of station, and you cannot all the time keep the house dark without a light, because it will attract thieves or robbers. So you can set it in such a way that exactly at 6 o'clock the lights get on. The lights get off at 9 o'clock. The light gets on again at 6 o'clock in the morning. So people will begin to feel, there is somebody in the house. So it will help even save current. There is so much of artificial intelligence when it comes to televisions, when it comes to lights, when it comes to conditioners or air conditioners. All this is done only through robotics, and that you'll find in smart homes. It also has its quirky side. How would you feel if your folk refused to cooperate when you are trying to eat? Now, when we talk about smartphones, if you remember one of our students called Farhan, he had made a smart home in which you'll find he went up to the national level, and his smart home was in such a way that he made a window that could close when the wind blew, or when there was hot sun, or if the heat in the room increased, it made sure that it opened out windows so that cool air could come in. All these things was done by our candidate in school. So it's, you may have seen it if you have entered into the Atal Tinkering Lab. So that's really nice. It has also had its quirky side. They said it also had its quirky side. When you say quirky side, you will find that sometimes you will find these robots act funny. Now, if you look at Rajnikant, he acting with Aishwarya Rai in one of the films, you will find that the robot tries to take the place of its master. It starts liking Aishwarya Rai, and it starts taking the place of the master and wants to love Aishwarya Rai. So what happens here is, you will find that these robots also have their funny side of life, or kind of a different kind of a life, which is not actually nice. Now they are telling us this. How would you feel if your folk, you refuse to cooperate when you are trying to eat? Now what, for example, suppose you have a fork, a spoon and a fork you have, a fork is a kind of a spoon with the stripes on it, or a part of the fork. You'll have a fork. I'll show you a picture of the fork. So he said, this fork, what if it was robotic, and then whenever you try to eat, it never came close to your mouth, or never even thought of feeding you. The Happy Fork is one such smart fork. Oh, so they have created another robot. It's called the Smart Fork. And what is this smart fork does? It starts vibrating and warns you when you eat too fast. So this Happy Fork or a smart fork is so nice that suppose you start eating fast, and especially when you want to go to play, you start eating fast so that you can complete your food. At that time, this Happy Fork, it starts vibrating, it starts shaking and tells you that you are eating too fast. Though it sounds quite bizarre, so you're saying it sounds very strange, it sounds funny. It can come in handy, as eating too fast can lead to bad digestion and obesity. So she's saying, so the author is saying, it sounds funny, it sounds very strange, but then they are saying that this Happy Fork is going to be very useful, because by eating fast, you may have indigestion problems, and you have obesity. Obesities, you may turn to become very fat or overweight. What are the disadvantages of these robots? In spite of its innumerable advantages, artificial intelligence also has many disadvantages. One of them being that robots do not have any emotions and cannot help us when we feel sad or upset. So they're saying one bad thing about artificial intelligence is it doesn't have any feelings. When you say emotions, it cannot feel sad, it cannot feel upset, it cannot feel how do we feel actually. Also, since they work on lower logic, they lack creativity and imagination. Another thing is they cannot think for themselves. They lack creativity. When it comes to us human beings, we can decide what to be done. We are not first. uh, the intelligence is not fed into us, but when it comes to a robot, intelligence is fed into the machine and it reacts accordingly. But but when it comes to human beings, we can change whenever we want, we can do whatever we want, because we are not missions. But here you will find an artificial intelligence can react only according to what is fed into it. It doesn't have any own thinking or own imagination. Another concern is that though efficiency may increase if robots are used in different fields, more and more people may be out of work, which can have very serious consequences. So they are saying when a robot does its work, it may do its work very efficiently. It may do its work very beautifully, and people would prefer using robots in factories or in place of missions. But just imagine what could happen to people. Many of the people will not have any work to do. Many of the people will lose their jobs. These are the disadvantages of having robots. The debate on whether artificial intelligence is good or bad continues. While some feel that being man made, it cannot possibly destroy humans, others feel that these missions may eventually spin out of control and harm their creators. Now, when you are having a debate whether robots are good or not, they are saying, people are saying, we created these robots, so they cannot be better than us, and since it is man made, they cannot destroy human beings. But some others feel that suddenly, if these robots spin out of control, that means sometimes they can go out of their control and then they can harm human beings. We do not know whether what the future holds for us, but there is no denying that slowly but surely artificial intelligence is becoming an essential part of our lives. We may agree or we may not agree that artificial intelligence is good or bad, but then they are saying everybody has begun to realize that these this artificial intelligence has become a part of our lives, and we feel that we cannot live without these robots. So some feel that we may become so lazy that we'll have to depend totally on these robots. That is all you have, and in this lesson, I hope you understood the lesson.